This is Jeff Mucci, publisher of RCR Wireless. We're here locally in Toronto, Canada, and we're meeting with partner and CTO of Bash Corporation, Filipe Laborde-Basto. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Jeff. It's a pleasure to be here.
I've just had a demo of your product, and it's straight out of Minority Report. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do and who your customers are?
Well, like we were speaking about before, what we're seeing in the industry is people are going from before we had the generation that was going to into the internet. There was the whole building up of the internet. Everyone was going into the internet. Now we're starting to see the internet come into the out of world. We're seeing out of home technology, which is basically internet-enabled devices and screens everywhere in the workplace. For example, you could have a billboard right over there where you walk by and it detects your face and it sees that you're perhaps a male and it shows you an advertisement or it starts running an advertisement related to something. And then it could gather information and send that back to the advertiser. So we're seeing mobile technology, we're seeing wireless broadband, I guess, connecting the outside world with the internet. And we are one of the boutique companies. We specialize very much in projection technology, projection to screen, in any kind of Bluetooth-enabled devices which interact with the world, and very much with tying all of this back to the internet.
Okay. So who is your customer?
Our customer, so far, obviously it's an evolving industry. Things are changing, but our customers have generally been, to this point, the agencies. We work with agencies in the U.S. and in Canada, and we've started to work with some of the retailers here in Canada.
Okay, so that's McCann Erickson or some of the Ogilvy and some of the other traditional agencies. And so they turn to you for out-of-home digital marketing experiences.
They turn to us to supplement or enhance their proposals to their clients to make it better. Okay. To touch on these elements now, the out-of-home elements, to tie in the out-of-home elements with their Facebook or with their mobile platform. And because we have the means to do these things, we then will help them execute with the ideas and with the technology.
Okay. So you mentioned Heineken. Who are some of the other end-user clients that are using some of your out-of-home products and services?
So Heineken, of course, we went through an agency.
Yeah.
We've worked with, we have one that came up with Canon. Canon is very interested in using for their next generation of cameras. It was something showing the flash and the stabilization technology.
Right.
Again, through an agency. We've worked with, recently, I'm trying to think something which would be relevant here. We worked with a smaller computer brand here in Canada. In the U.S., nothing's coming to mind right now, but it's been, recently in Canada, we have one right now. We're working for a credit union, so it's a bank proposal.
Yep. And
I'll talk a little bit about this one. In this situation, what we have here is we have, I guess after the whole banking fiasco, we have banks and credit unions starting to say, well, how do we get more in touch with our customers? And so we have a situation here where we're trying to guide them towards using out-of-home technology to present some of their products, to increase the number of mortgages they sell, to bridge the gap between walking into that building and getting young people to, use their mobile phone or come up to the outside of a bank and see what they have available. These are all the out-of-home and the mobile elements we're integrating.
Okay, so tell me how you integrate SMS into an out-of-home marketing campaign.
Well, SMS is, of course, a communication channel. So what we've done is we built a platform that will then take SMS communications. It'll then take, mobile web applications. It'll take a web page, and it will take communication from all of these things. It'll bring them to the platform, which then decides how to act on it. So it'll say, okay, SMS has come in. User wants information on Labatt beer. Okay, they've texted in, I want to find out about this Labatt promotion. Then depending on our database, it'll say, okay, what promotions are running right now. It'll opt the user into some kind of SMS list, and it will send back saying, your contestant number 55. So everything is tied in through internet technology into our platform.
Okay. So now take that to the next step and share an example or two of how you use some out-of-home projection and techniques to engage audiences in a grassroots type campaign.
Okay. Well, we could talk about the Heineken experience here. What we did there, what the challenge was. This was Alexander Keith's. It was a guerrilla projection campaign. The client wanted to bridge the gap between the customers, people walking on the street, with the celebration of Alexander Keith's 50th anniversary.
Okay.
And they came to us and they said, well, we want to do something which is guerrilla, street related, where people can kind of celebrate Alexander Keith's birthday. And we said, okay, what we could do is we could set something up where we have street teams that run projections. So they project onto the sides of buildings, and then they pass out these tablets, and it's just like a wireless tablet. People can sign on the tablet, and as they sign on the tablet, it appears up on the building. And so we had this in 3 cities, in Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. And we had street teams where they had these tablets. People would sign on the tablets saying, happy birthday, Alexander Keith, and switch the page. And then we basically got a whole, booklet of virtual pages where people were celebrating and just saying, happy birthday.
And that was projected
and that
up
was
on
projective,
the
buildings. It was on. There was a web page with it, and it was projected up there on, usually outside, close to bars on the buildings.
Got it.
So it seemed to be a way to create a sense of connection with people.
One of the other things we talked about was how film materials are allowing for 3G holograms to actually be deployed as part of a guerrilla marketing program. Can you tell us where we are today with film technology and where you think we'll be in 12 to 18 months?
We're seeing some really interesting developments in this. There are 3 technologies I can think of that are fascinating here. The most conventional, of course, is it's called touch film technology, and that is like a film that you can put onto a gloss surface somewhere, and then a projector will project onto it, and that can basically, you can go from a clear screen to suddenly having an image appear there. And you can make this an information booth, you can make an advertisement, and if you mount on the rear, you can mount like infrared cameras, and then you suddenly have interactivity where people can touch it and engage with that whole experience. That's the first type. The second type, which is coming out very soon, it's kind of like projection to air, and what it does is there's a device which actually kind of phase shifts the air, and it makes the air a little more opaque. And so you can walk by this sort of air blanket, and you can see a projection which is projecting onto it. It looks a little bit like seeing a ghost. You can see this wavering holographic image there on the air. Mm-hmm. We're looking at deploying some of that here. It's quite expensive still, but we're seeing some interest from partners here in Canada. The third one, which we have seen a fair amount of interest for, is it's like a holographic pyramid. And within that, you can actually put a holographic image where people can walk around and they can see it from all the angles. And this technology is now getting more right now. There's small little holographic projections, but we're seeing bigger and bigger systems being deployed.
Okay.
And we think this will be a great way for people to experience and learn about something without actually having to have these things in the market.
Okay. That all sounds futuristic and pretty interesting. In terms of today, how does your company make money?
Most of our money comes from the fact that we are a boutique specialist. We know technology, and there's a lot of demand from agencies to execute on stuff. So when they want to bring one of these visions together, they want to tie in some technology. Either they want to tie in a mobile element or an SMS element with a web page or with an out-of-home element. We have all the expertise to bring these things together. So we usually work with agencies to execute and to enhance their proposals to their clients.
Okay. So you were founded in September of 2009, and so you've only been around 4 or 5 months. Where do you see yourself going in 2010?
Well, I think things are moving quickly, so you never really know where you're going to be. I think that's part of the beauty of the industry. But we see ourselves getting much more active in hopefully bringing products, but more specialized products related to out-of-home into the marketplace. Mm-hmm. We have some really interesting things like virtual spray units where people can like spray graffiti on buildings, but it's virtually done through a projector mm-hmm. and through an interactive device. We see a lot of interest in interactive screens where people have information booths, where they have kiosks, and we see a fair amount of interest tying all of these interactive things in then with the Facebook page or with a Mobi website.
Next month, RCR is going to be publishing a special edition on mobile marketing, content, and applications. And the edition is going to be called The Perfect Storm. We call it The Perfect Storm because you've got this intersection of 3G networks, soon to be 4G, smartphones, and social networking. Where do you see wireless technology and the perfect storm intersecting with some of the technologies that you're introducing to the marketplace?
Well, I think the first thing we have to be aware of, Jeff, is, and we both have iPhones, is that devices like the iPhone have revolutionized how people, I think, communicate. Mm-hmm. Before the iPhone, you made phone calls with it. Now with the iPhone, you communicate. You'll email people. You will check web pages to see where locations are. You'll use Google Maps. You have everything on a single little device that has high-speed internet connectivity. And I think what we're going to see with this happening is that people are going to make this much more part of the social, the fabric of society. As in, we see with kids, they're dumping each other. They'll date each other with an SMS. They'll say, "Hey, do you want to go out?" They'll send an SMS saying, "Hey, listen, I want to break up with you." I mean, that's saying a lot about communication. It means
that's cold.
It's cold. It's very cold. But at the same time, it's saying that people are entrusting a device like this with communication, with expressing their feelings. And I think as we start seeing these devices get new features, like we have the accelerometers, where you can then start having augmented reality, where you can start seeing supplementary information to what's there in real life, you're going to start seeing people use them much more for adding dimensions to life that don't even exist, as far as communications, as far as seeing advertising or seeing information related to, I don't know, their banking or related to where they want to drive, all within these mobile devices. So I think we're going to start seeing, I'm guessing here, but I think we're going to actually see a whole new industry, not just the App Store, but we're going to see a whole new industry evolve around the data mining of this virtual information that's being overlaid onto reality as we see it right now.
Fascinating.
And I'm excited to see where that goes, but I have no idea at this point.
Great. Well, Filipe, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.